Everyone, Lamar Jackson. He is still trying to work out a contract negotiation in the ballpark of $250 million guaranteed. The Ravens have been reluctant to give him and guarantee him that money, according to Lamar Jackson. We covered the tweet and all that stuff about how, he confirmed himself, like, no, they never offered that's something he would likely take, but they haven't offered it. Here's the problem. Lamar Jackson is representing himself, which is never a good idea in these types of contract negotiations. You need an agent to go through the grind and all the rigmarole and all that stuff to try to get you the best money possible. Lamar Jackson, he doesn't want that. He wants to capitalize as much money as possible. Him and his mother are the ones that are in the process of trying to negotiate with the Ravens, but I just don't see this ending well for Lamar Jackson. And to further this, it looks like Lamar Jackson is kind of looking elsewhere. He's going to get paid no matter what. Look, he's too young, too talented, too gifted, an incredible young quarterback talent. Now, I'm not as high on Lamar Jackson as many other people are. I think he has a lot of issues and concerns when it comes to just the type of quarterback he is, especially when you're talking guaranteeing him $250 million. As great of a talent as he is, he's a mobile quarterback, which in that requires him to get hit a lot. And we've seen guys like Cam Newton can't even get a job anymore because it's hard for these guys that are these running type quarterbacks to game in and game out constantly, just take these heavy hits being mobile. And how many have had this huge major success in winning Super Bowls? It just is very rare. It's usually, your pocket type of quarterbacks, which Lamar Jackson isn't the best passer as far as accuracy goes in long distance. If you watch Baltimore, a lot of it are little dump and dink type passes. They kind of protect him and keep him within this frame, within this scope, little routes, things like that. And then he has the mobility, which is great. He's won an MVP, all that stuff. But when you look at his just turnover proneness, as far as fumbles and interceptions and stuff, it's an area for concern. And I know people like to compare, what about this? The issue with the argument is not about whataboutism. Lamar Jackson doesn't get a contract because, Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen has the same turnovers. It's the organization looking at the overall package. People always like to go to what about, when it comes to these arguments. It's not what this is about. An organization is looking at Lamar Jackson and going, he is an extremely high risk when it comes to injuries. So why would we guarantee him money? Because if he ends up taking off on a play, gets knocked out, gets some serious career-ending injury, we're stuck holding the bag. We're stuck paying him. It's just, again, the likelihood of him getting seriously injured is huge compared to a guy like Tom Brady who just sits in the pocket the whole time, or a Patrick Mahomes or a Josh Allen. Yes, they can be mobile. Yes, they can do it, but they're not looking to run like Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson's looking, okay, where's my hole? Where's my pocket that I can squeeze into? Try to pick up 10 to 15 yards, something along those lines. His history in the playoffs hasn't been very good. And I know people always say Lamar Jackson is a winner and this, that, the other. But here's the thing. You could go undefeated every single season. But if you're a first round exit, who cares? I thought the goal here is to win championships. I thought the goal here was to win Super Bowl reigns, to be a team that is doing deep playoff runs. Lamar Jackson has more interceptions than he does touchdown passes in the playoffs. That's not a good telling sign if you're the Ravens. There are a lot of negatives when it comes to Lamar Jackson. And I know people are still going to defend it. People are still going to try to say this, that, and the other and resort to whataboutism. But again, the facts are the facts. He hasn't been a great leader in the playoffs. He's had some off-field antics that are concerning, especially in injuries and stuff, like the big viral beach video and stuff like that. He's a guy that is high risk when it comes to injuries, and that becomes a real problem. And Lamar Jackson added some fuel to the fire by liking an image of him in a Dolphins jersey. Now, him on the Dolphins, I would see the Dolphins giving him whatever he wants. You want $250 million guaranteed? Here you go. because that's just the Dolphins organization. But you got to understand, the Ravens need to do what's best for the Ravens. Whether you as a fan agree with that or not, you're not in charge of the finances. You're not writing the checks. You're not doing all the stuff that goes into that. If the Ravens don't want to guarantee him a max, they're not going to guarantee him a max. And I don't really blame him because, again, he has such a high risk. We have seen the careers of a lot of these mobile quarterbacks not end very well and not last very long. You know, like a rarity is a guy like Russell Wilson. But even then, he had arguably one of the best defenses ever. Like, it wasn't just him carrying the team. He had great offensive weapons, great defensive weapons. I mean, that defense, when he won a Super Bowl, was huge. And outside of that, what's happened since? He had a chance to win a Super Bowl, and instead of running the ball, they pass the ball and they lose, right? I mean, and he hasn't done much since. We'll see what he does with the Broncos. But these mobile guys, they haven't had the success that a lot of these pocket quarterbacks and stuff like that have had. And, you know, people like to say, well, what about, you know, Steve Young? What about that? Yeah, okay, one quarterback out of the thousands to have success, and he was an incredible passer. He could play in the pocket if need be. He just was able to be mobile. There's a difference there. But again, Lamar Jackson, I'm not trying to take away from his talent. I'm not trying to take away from his skill set. All I'm saying is that the reality is this guy, one, doesn't have an agent negotiating for him, which he needs. Two, he's on a team with the Ravens that are looking at it as like, we're going to guarantee you $250 million. And I don't even know, tomorrow you could be out of the league, you know, just due to injury, because all it takes is one bad hit, one bad moment, something like that. And we're left holding the bag and you get paid. That's not a good position if you're the Ravens to be in for the future. There's always a risk in the game of football, of course, but there are greater risks than other players. But a team like the Dolphins that just, they want to be a name, they want to kind of take over the division, I could see the Dolphins giving Lamar Jackson and persuading Lamar Jackson to come. And a big question is, like, would the Ravens ultimately trade Lamar to a team like the Dolphins? Like, would a team, if Lamar Jackson became available, there'd be a lot of teams, I think, kind of just at least feeling it out. Maybe they don't go and actually trade for him, but outside of like the top 5 quarterbacks, I could see Lamar Jackson getting a job somewhere, and Miami could be that team. The Eagles might be another one that many people have kind of questions when it comes to quarterbacks. Tennessee maybe as another team. I just think Miami would make a lot of sense for Lamar, but here's the problem. He's not good at the long ball, and you got Tyreek Hill, who, like, you're getting at least one touchdown a game on like a 75-yard pass if you can hit him. You know, and can Lamar make that throw? That's a big question. Tua, I don't know if he's going to be capable. We'll see how he does. But if Tua isn't that great, I could see the Dolphins really trying to ramp up to try to go get a Lamar Jackson. And I wouldn't be shocked if the Ravens end up trading Lamar at some point, especially if they can't get a deal worked out. I think the Ravens aren't as high on Lamar as the fans are. And, you know, whether that turns out to be a great decision or a bad decision, we'll see. We'll see how it works out. But Lamar is a guy, again, he's going to get paid. He's going to get something. A team is going to guarantee him probably a lot of money. I just don't know how many teams would guarantee him $250 million. And a lot of people point to, like, and even Lamar has looked at, like, what about Deshaun Watson? Again, you know, Deshaun, he got $250 million guaranteed. We're talking about the Browns here. What is the Browns' history as a franchise? The whole Deshaun thing was an absolute disaster from the beginning, and now you're paying this guy $250 million, and he's going to miss the first 11 games of the season. If you're the Ravens, you're not looking at the Browns and going, that was a smart decision. The Browns don't even know if Deshaun Watson can still be the same player he was. He hasn't played in like 2.5 years. By the time he actually comes back, it'll be almost 3 years, something like that, since he's actually played a real NFL game. That's not good. You don't want to give $250 million to that. And you can't use, oh, well, look at this team over here. They gave him that kind of money and then say, oh, I deserve that. You know, it doesn't weigh out that way. Just because one team is stupid and is willing to do something that extreme and that drastic just to try to be relevant doesn't mean that you as the Ravens, who have been a historied franchise, should do the same thing. You know, and guarantee money that, like, you know, you don't know what's going to happen with Lamar. you're looking at history. You're looking at all these other mobile quarterbacks, even guys like Cam, who's a bigger Lamar Jackson in many ways and was a better thrower in some areas. That is just like, oh, like, look at what happened. He can't even get a job now. And it's just like, that becomes an issue. But a team like Miami, they're arguably another Browns, right? They're a team that, hey, we'll take Lamar Jackson. We'll guarantee you, all the money we can and this, that, and the other, because there's teams out there that want to be relevant. They want to be, look what we've tried to do. Look what we've done. And it's exciting for the fans, and it does this, that, and the other. I can absolutely see Miami doing something along those lines. But if you're the Ravens, I don't think you can give Lamar Jackson $250 million guaranteed. Will they? Possibly. I'm not saying they're not going to entirely. I don't know. I'm not the one running the Ravens. But if they were that high on Lamar Jackson and they wanted to ensure that he's locked in for the long haul and this, that, and the other, why haven't they just given him the contract? Why don't they just, be done with this mess and just say, hey, here you go. Or offer him, $200 million guaranteed. I'm sure Lamar would probably take that. Have some, backloaded thing, I don't know, incentive, something. I'm sure Lamar would take it. But they're not even offering him guaranteed money. They're willing to offer him a contract. They just don't want to guarantee the money. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them for not wanting to guarantee Lamar Jackson's contract. That's just me personally. But anyway, as always, those are my thoughts and opinions. So I pass the question on to you. Let me know yours down in the comment section below. What do you think? Do you think the Ravens should guarantee him his money, give him the $250 million guarantee? Do you think, no, you're right. Like, look, he's a high risk player for injury. Not the best idea in the world to go and do something like that. Do you think a team like Miami would do it? Do you think Lamar would go to Miami? Do you think Miami would go and acquire Lamar Jackson? Do you think he would work in Miami? Is that a team that you could see? Like, yeah, dude, Lamar on Miami, go to the Dolphins, you're winning a Super Bowl, or you're at least really good. How do you feel about that situation? Is it something you'd be okay with? Is it something you'd be against? I'm sure Raven fans wouldn't be too happy, but hey, Lamar's going to go where the money is, right? And I don't blame him for that. I would go do the same thing. This team over here wants to offer me $250 million guaranteed. All right, I'll go over there. Let's do that. Let's make that happen. But anyway, again, however you feel about the situation, I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. That being said, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, followed by the bell notification. Stay up to date with all things sports. Join this wonderful community and all of our discussions. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.